Alrighty, what is going on, Pats Nation? You guys already know who it is. Patriots Global here, back with another video. And in this one, guys, you're finally getting the video you've been asking me for. You guys have said, Patriots Global, thank you so much for keeping us updated on everything going involving, coaching staff changes, whether that's offense, defense, quarterbacks coach, wide receivers coach, O-line, special teams, no matter what it is. But Global, please just keep us updated when it comes to what is going on with the offensive coordinator position. Because as we all know, and this is something that I myself have been preaching, as everybody says, we are in rebuild mode. No, we are not. We have personnel. We have the players from top to bottom to get the job done. We've seen that whether it's on special teams. We've seen that especially on defense. And our offense a couple of years ago went through a total U-Haul, signing 2 top 10 tight ends at that time in Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Bringing in a guy like Aguilar, who I didn't love the signing at the time. Obviously don't love it now, but he was considered a top 20 receiver. Obviously, the Patriots had no receivers in 2020, nor tight ends. And our running back core has gotten even more vamped up. So, with the addition of more weapons, with our offensive line improved from what it was in 2020, the Patriots should be better. Why aren't they? Comes down to coaching. For the first time in forever, especially under the Bill Belichick era, this issue really does not come down to personnel, or it does not come down to personnel. It comes down to coaching. How many times have we been able to say that? Belichick has always had the next guy in the building. Your offensive coordinator leaves, sweet, next guy up. Quarterback coach leaves, next guy up. Special teams coach leaves, next guy up. Defensive coordinator leaves, next guy up. Unfortunately, we've been poached for so many years now. Belichick has not had that next guy in, which led to Matt Patricia being the New England Patriots offensive coordinator here, and Joe Judge being the quarterback's coach for the 2022 season, which completely obliterated us. Guys, good coaching staff can make average to below average personnel work out. Bad coaching will make above average personnel look below average. You cannot tell me, with the weapons and the personnel we have offensively, that we are a bottom 5 team in the offensively, a bottom 5 team in the NFL last year. It all came down to coaching, and this is where the changes come. Get your offensive coordinator in, get your quarterbacks coach and someone to really work with Mac, a new offensive line coach, and everything will start falling into place. And these pieces that we've acquired over the last few years, guys, I promise you, are going to start looking a lot better when they're actually utilized in the right situations and the right system. With that being said, guys, the New England Patriots have brought in 5 different offensive coordinators, 5 different coaches for their open offensive coordinator spot. Some offensive line coaches, some wide receiver coaches, some tight end coaches, some guys in the building, most guys being outside the building. But here's what I'll say before we get into this. The one thing that you will notice about all of these guys is that they're still within the Patriots family. Belichick likes to promote from the bottom up, but like I said, we've been poached for so many years now. We haven't really had that ability. Haven't had that ability to build from the bottom up because everybody's gone. These guys aren't ready to be promoted. So with that said, Belichick is having to go outside of the organization, but he isn't completely doing that because the guys that we're still looking into, Belichick is still familiar with. Whether that's they played for Belichick at one point or whether they coached for Belichick at one point, they are still within the Patriots family. But before we get into this video, guys, only one way we start each and every single one of these videos, and that's by rolling that Patriots Global intro. So let's do it. Alrighty, guys. So we're going to break down all 5 of the guys that the Patriots have met with. I wouldn't expect them to meet with any other guy at this point. One thing they did have to follow was the Rooney Rule, which is basically considered that each team who's looking for a new head coach or positional coach has to bring in at least one minority coach. That is the rule. That is the NFL rule. Whether that is somebody of color, whether that is a female, you have to bring in a minority, at least one for coaching. And the Patriots definitely did that. 100%, as you will see as we talk about these guys. And obviously, one of these coaches is literally in the title. Literally in the title. You guys know, yes, New England did finally, officially, according to Ian Rappaport, meet with Bill O'Brien for the offensive coordinator spot. Just a few days ago, we heard nothing about this. We heard that Bill O'Brien was still working with Alabama, but it's official that that interview has been conducted. Now, that's not the first guy I'm going to talk about because we've talked about Bill O'Brien a lot, but we will still be talking about him. The first guy, as I look for the photo, the first guy that I would like to talk about here, somebody we all know, Mr. Nick Caley. Now, forgive the photos for not being full screen. Google was just not cooperating with giving me photos that actually to fit the templates. But Nick Caley, we all know who Nick Caley is. New England Patriots tight end coach over the last several years. As you can see, even in this photo, he was there teaching Jacob Hollister. He was teaching Gronk. He was teaching Dwayne Allen. He was teaching Ben Watson. And even today, teaching Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. Now, the thing about Nick Caley, I made a little shorts video on here just probably about a week ago that he was actually interviewing with the New England Patriots divisional rival New York Jets. And the New York Jets are actually considering, for those who have not seen my little shorts video, I would check that out still. Some good information there. But Nick Caley is still considered one of the top priorities here for the New York Jets and is a very strong possibility to get their offensive coordinator spot. Now, obviously nothing official, but that is still what we're hearing. Now, I do believe that, hey, if the Patriots do offer the position here to Nick Caley, then he takes it 100%. At the end of the day, if you can get the offensive coordinator spot with the team you've been with the last several years versus an in-division team you've never been with, he's obviously going to pick the Patriots. But I don't exactly think that the Patriots are going to pick Nick Caley. Nick Caley's been in-house. If New England really wanted him, they would have had him in that position last year when they really needed him versus bringing in somebody like Joe Judge and Matt Patricia to take over for that spot, which I feel like anyone could have figured out that that was not going to go well, as it didn't. But the Patriots did interview Nick Caley. It would be pretty messed up if they didn't interview him and an in-division rival did. At this point, I would like to think that if the Jets do offer that position to him, Nick Caley is as good as gone. But if the Jets do decide to go somewhere else, I'm confident Nick Caley does stay here. And the thing is if the Patriots didn't offer an interview to Nick Caley and the Jets didn't offer that position, there probably would have been some type of beef between Caley and the Patriots, as the Patriots are still looking for that offensive coordinator, going about it in different ways, going out of house to try to find that guy. I'm sure he would have been upset, as Caley does want some type of promotion. But he originally joined the Patriots as an offensive assistant in 2015. He's been here ever since, and his contract is expected to expire this offseason. So he is a very big part to this team. Am I confident that Nick Caley can take that next step and work with Mac Jones and work with the entire offense? I don't know. I'm not confident in saying so. Is that to say he can't? No, but to say I'm confident that he can do so, I can't say that. The one thing he does have going for him is that he does know this offense. He knows the system and he knows the players, and he has a lot of respect from the players. He's a very, very strong-minded coach. He's also a very brilliant coach from what we've heard. So it would definitely be a loss if the Patriots did end up losing him, but he's not exactly my favorite candidate ultimately to take over for the Patriots as their offensive coordinator. And actually, at the end of this video, after we talk about all of the opportunities here for the Patriots with their offensive coordinator meetings, I'm actually going to rank each of these guys and let you know my favorites in order, who I would like to be the offensive coordinator and who I would least like to be the offensive coordinator here. But moving on to the next one. This is actually going to be, spoiler alert, one of my favorites. And I actually really liked that the Patriots brought this guy in, Keenan McCardell. This is going to be the Minnesota Vikings wide receiver coach. The Patriots requested permission to speak with him. I'm pretty sure that they were granted it also, so I would expect this to move forward. But a guy that's worked really, really well so far throughout Minnesota, working with their wide receiver coaches, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs. He's worked with some really, really good wide receivers, and he's developed these wide receivers and gotten them into successful positions time after time. I think that he would actually be a good offensive coordinator here in the league. And if it's not for the Patriots are at least doing him a favor and getting his name out there. So McCardell actually played 4 seasons for Bill Belichick with his time during the Cleveland Browns from 1992 to 1995. So like I said, he does fit under that category of being within the family. He has about a decade of experience as an NFL wide receiver coach, and he's had plenty of success working with those guys, like I have said before. Not really much more to talk about with this guy. Falls under the category of the Belichick family. I think that he'd do really well. For those saying, hey, well, if he can't be our offensive coordinator, maybe we can get him in as a quarterback's coach, or maybe he can be our wide receivers coach. Guys, that's not going to happen. If he's not going to get a promotion, he's going to stay where he is. Why would he change his position to work with the quarterbacks when he's clearly a wide receivers coach, as he used to be a wide receiver himself, and he's doing it successfully with the Vikings? If he doesn't get offensive coordinator position, he's not going to come with us. Just point blank. There's nothing else to say about that. Now, next up here is going to be Adrian Klemm. He's from Oregon. He's their associate head coach, but he's worked in a variety of different ways. He actually used to be the former Steelers offensive line coach. So this is a guy, I'm not crazy about being the Patriots offensive coordinator. To me, he is more of an offensive line coach. I wouldn't necessarily be against him coming in and joining our coaching staff in another way. Just to me, working as an offensive coordinator when he's mostly an offensive line coach just doesn't really personally do it for me. He was actually the first ever draft pick of Bill Belichick's Patriots regimen. He does currently serve as not just the associate head coach for Oregon, but also the run game coordinator and O-line coach also. And like I mentioned just a second ago, he did work with the Steelers formerly as their offensive line coach. So maybe he can be, Patriots offensive line coach, assistant offensive line coach, something like that, because New England does need an offensive line coach, and they do still need to start building from the bottom up with, associates and assistants and whatnot. So I think he could be a good candidate for that. But, other than that, not too interested in it. Like I said, though, he does still fit within that, air quote, family trend we have going on here. I was surprised. I was surprised that he was added to this list just because, like I said, I don't really think he fits under the necessary category the Patriots are looking for to take that next step forward with their entire offense. But he's a familiar face with the Patriots, so it does make sense. New England selected him as their offensive tackle in the 6th round of the 2000 NFL draft, won 3 Super Bowls with the Patriots before he left, ultimately in 2004. He also spent 3 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers, like I said, as their offensive line coach, not even too long ago, from 2019 to 2020, and then also worked as their offensive line coach in 2021 before joining the college ranks and becoming the Oregon Ducks associate head coach, as we already talked about. Now, next up on this list is going to be Shawn Jefferson. Now, Shawn Jefferson right now is working as the Arizona Cardinals associate head coach / wide receivers coach. So this is going to be a guy that's going to be a little bit harder to poach away just because he already does have that associate head coach title to him. And when you have that, a lot of times you're a guy that's likely to be next up if something does happen to your head coach. And as we all know, Cliff Kingsbury is out. He is out of Arizona. They're looking for new head coaches, and Shawn Jefferson could potentially be a guy who does take over for them. So it isn't necessarily 100% a realistic thing to look at, but it is going to be up to him, and he does still fit under that air quote family regimen that the Patriots do have going on here. Jefferson is another former Patriots player. He was with Bill Belichick in New England for not that long. It was just one season. It was 1996 before Bill Belichick went with Bill Parcells to the New York Jets in 1997. Jefferson played for the Patriots from 1996 through 1999. His coaching career did begin with the Detroit Lions in 2006. So the one thing about him is that he has a lot of experience. Believe it or not, Megatron with the Detroit Lions, because he actually was able to work with him, actually said that Jefferson is not just the best wide receivers coach, but the best coach he's ever worked with in the National Football League, which is very, very high praise for one of the greatest to ever do it in Megatron. But like I said, he does have a lot of experience throughout the NFL. As I pull this up, his coaching history goes Detroit Lions 2006 as their offensive assistant, Detroit in 2007 as their assistant wide receivers coach, Detroit from 2008 to 2012 as their official wide receivers coach, Tennessee from 2013 to 2015 as their wide receivers coach, Miami from 2016 to 2018 as their wide receivers coach, and since then has been with the Arizona Cardinals. So a lot of teams, and the Patriots are obviously very, very familiar with him. He'd be a good guy to look at, and he's definitely towards the top of my list in that aspect. Now, lastly here, my friends, you all know this was coming. Talked about him earlier, Mr. Bill O'Brien himself. And we've talked about Bill O'Brien several times. So if you want to know more about Bill O'Brien, what he brings to the Patriots, just in general, check out my channel, guys. I've really talked a lot about Bill O'Brien. I'm not going to continue to strain the horse here, as I've been doing, talking about him in most of my latest videos. But the Patriots have finally, like I said earlier, had that interview with him. And it's interesting because we heard about this after they concluded their interview with Bill O'Brien. We didn't hear the Patriots are interested in him. The Patriots are going to bring him in. They're trying to get an interview. No, we heard about it randomly that the interview had concluded. Up to this point, we had heard nothing about Bill O'Brien to the Patriots. We heard that Bill O'Brien heard nothing from the Patriots and that he was still working with Alabama as a recruiter. So obviously still doing some work there for Alabama, but it would make so much sense. It would make so much sense for Bill O'Brien to come to the Patriots. It makes so much sense for Bill himself to come to the Patriots too. Obviously, there's going to be some questions with Gerard Mayo becoming assistant head coach to Bill Belichick. Bill O'Brien obviously does still want to take that step forward to potentially being a head coach in the NFL again. And with the Patriots, he knows like he's not going to be promoted to being the Patriots head coach whenever Bill Belichick does decide to leave. But, you know, at best, Bill O'Brien can come in here, change a horrific 2022 Patriots offense, make it look good, make it a top offense in the NFL. And within a couple of years, maybe, you know, even 1 to 2, Bill O'Brien could get some offers to be a head coach. So I think this is really one of the best scenarios for him, for the Patriots. We heard several times, you know, the Patriots want Bill O'Brien. Like, this is their guy. This is their top guy. This is who they want. This is who Bill wants. This is who the front office wants. This is who Robert Kraft wants and his son wants. So, like I said, makes a whole lot of sense here. But now let me go back. If I had to rank who I wanted out of these coaches, this is personally how it would follow. Bill O'Brien. No surprise there. Bill O'Brien makes so much sense for the New England Patriots. This is my favorite. This is everyone's favorite. The one thing about Bill O'Brien, like, you know what you're going to get with him at this point. Like, he's not going to come in and wow you or surprise you or anything like that. He has a connection with Mac Jones, has a connection with a lot of players on this team, knows the system, but he can also implement some of those Alabama schemes and plays within the Patriots' new system, but also bring back some of those old Patriots system tendencies to kind of try to marry those two between what the Patriots have done over the last few decades with a new offense, a younger offense, and a Mac Jones offense. No guy's going to be able to do that better than Bill O'Brien. So obviously he's going to be the top guy there. Now, next up is going to be McCardell. Vikings wide receiver coach. This is my second favorite. If it's not Bill O'Brien, this would be my favorite out of all of them. I'd actually be really, really excited to see what he could do. His development with these receivers over the last several years with Minnesota, whether I said it was Stephon Diggs, Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, he's provided some of the best wide receivers that the NFL has seen. And unfortunately, what are the Patriots really bad at doing? They're bad at developing wide receivers. So, if you bring him in, even as an offensive coordinator, he's clearly going to work still with his receivers. And maybe that helps develop some of these younger guys. And maybe we can draft a wide receiver and actually have him develop. So I'd actually be really excited to see what McCardell could come in and do for New England. Hasn't actually had that ability to call plays or be the offensive coordinator, but he has a lot of experience in the NFL, obviously been in the system before, and I think that he could do a lot of really, really interesting things, and he could definitely make an impact. So I would really be excited to see that. Next up would be Jefferson here with the Cardinals. I think that he's another guy who could do a lot of wonders. He has a lot of experience in the NFL. The Patriots are also very familiar with him, going up against him several times. Also, being a wide receivers coach, like I just touched on, he's a guy who can kind of help develop our guys too a little bit more, working there with Troy Brown. So another guy I'm actually kind of surprised the Patriots didn't interview for their offensive coordinator spot was Troy Brown. But at the end of the day, that's just not what happened. Next up here for me would be Nick Caley. I like Nick Caley. He's beloved in the Patriot system. A lot of guys like him. A lot of guys think really highly of him. But I'm just thinking at this point, he's probably as good as gone. I don't think the Patriots are going to roll with him. If they really wanted him, I think they would have rolled with him last year. I just don't think the Patriots are really comfortable yet with giving him that promotion. And I think giving him even that interview was just kind of a sign of respect, or to really show the Jets, hey, y'all are going to have to pump the brakes if you want this guy, and kind of do Nick Caley a favor. But my last guy here is going to be Klemm here from Oregon. Like I said, used to work with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm not really big on a college coach at this point that only lasted a couple years as an NFL coach, who really is just an offensive line coach. I'm not against bringing him in and having him work with our offensive line in any way, shape, or form. The Patriots do need an offensive line coach. It's not just offensive coordinator. It's O-line coach, quarterbacks coach. We need potentially a tight ends coach. So there's a lot of open positions, not just offensive coordinator. So I wouldn't mind seeing him here, but as the offensive coordinator, it's just not something that personally I can get behind. But these are the 5 candidates that the Patriots are looking at potentially bringing in here. They have interviewed all 5 of these guys. I don't expect them to meet with anybody else other than these 5 guys. I would be surprised if they looked into more guys. At this point, I think we know who the guy is. We know who the top guy is. It's kind of like 2021. We were heading into the draft. We're looking at pick 15, and we say, what's New England going to do? We all knew that they were going to roll with Mac Jones. It was just a matter of actually doing it. And I think that's exactly what this is. It's just a matter of them hiring Bill O'Brien at this point. But nonetheless, there's 5 guys in the running for that spot. So if it's not Bill O'Brien, we're looking at one of these guys. So I'm really curious, though, how would you guys rank these 5 coaches to be your offensive coordinator for the Patriots? Go ahead and list them down in the comment section below for me. Make sure you guys leave a big like on this video and subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, I appreciate you guys for watching. And don't you ever forget, go Pats, because baby, we are going to be back in the 2023 season.